Happy Tuesday. Here we are for another Learning Live, and this is going to be a super duper fun one because we are going to be crafting together. So hopefully you saw my posts, so you saw our emails, all of that good stuff that shared with you all the things that you need for tonight, and we're going to have fun. We're going to get crafting together. So if you are watching, please do jump in the comments and give us a hello. Make sure that you can hear us. Oh, Shelly says hello, Sheri and Matt. That means everything is good sound-wise, everything is good visual-wise, and we are ready to get started.
Sounds a bit echoey on my phone, but it might just be me.
Okay, let me try that now, Matt. I've got just the microphone on and not the computer as well. For some reason, some of my settings got changed up, and I've been playing around with it, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Everything is good. Who's ready to get crafting? So I am going to switch over to my desktop camera. Okay. Yeah, Matt says it's better now, so that is good. Leslie says she can hear me fine. That is fantastic. That's always the hardest part of doing these lives, is that you just don't know what other people can hear. I can hear me, whether I'm even saying it out loud. I can hear me in my head, but I want to make sure that you can hear me loud and clear. I'm getting thumbs up, all of that good stuff. So let's get crafting. All right, I'm going to switch over to the desktop here, and this is the cute little pop-up card that we are going to be making tonight. It looks super complicated. It really, really isn't. When you fold it flat, it can go into a standard A2 size envelope. So it's really a fun little card that you can put in the mail and send out to anyone you wish. I've even decorated up the bottom because when it opens up, you do see part of that bottom. So that's where stickers and things come into play. Now I will say the main thing for this one, sorry, I'm just going to move. There we go. Now I'm a little bit more centered there. With this card, I have not used any 3D foam on this. I have kept everything nice and flat because otherwise that mechanism is not going to work well. So just keep that in mind. I am usually very much a foam girl. But not tonight. We're going to let the cardstock, we're going to let the mechanism do the work of dimension. Now, I'm still finding that mine doesn't like to sit perfectly flat. So when we go to do our score lines, make sure that you really burnish those and give them a really good workout so that it'll stand up nice and tall. All right, I am going to be using the Echo Park Winter Fun Collection tonight, which is the same as what I used on my sample. And if you have not prepped those pieces that I asked you to prep, don't worry, because I am going to be cutting mine here on camera, and you can cut along with me. Just reaching across here, I've got my bone folder. I'm going to put the stickers off to the side because we don't need them. So I'm going to refer back to my post. Nope, not that post here. I had it up, but then it went to sleep. So what do you need to have for tonight? So I asked you to have one 8.5 by 11 piece of solid color cardstock. I am using Merlot from the Spellbinders color wheel. With this one, if possible, you do want a slightly heavier weight. Pattern paper you could try, but I don't know that it's going to hold up very well to all the playing. So you want a nice weight of cardstock. Then we need 3 different pattern papers. So I am going to be using these trees. I am going to be using these trees. This is more of a subtle tree. That's the piece that goes on the bottom. And then I am going to be using these red polka dots so that that is on the little pop-up stand. And then we also need like 3x4 cut aparts, which I have a whole selection here. We'll have to make decisions as we go along. And I've got the stickers. I think that's it. We need our adhesive, we need our trimmer, and our scoreboard. So let's just dig right in. I do have all my numbers written out here, so I will try to hold this up and call attention to it whenever I can. Get it nice and straight here. I don't know why I'm being obsessive about it, but that's here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it super close, but I will repeat it as many times as I can to make sure you can follow along. So let's start by cutting all of our paper if you haven't done that already. Not the 3x4 cut aparts, but let's cut all of these pieces and then we will be ready. So this piece here, we are going to start by cutting our base, which is 4 1/4 by 11. Essentially, we are taking this piece, we are putting it in our trimmer vertically, and we're going to cut it in half at 4 1/4. It's that easy. Cut it in half at 4 1/4, right up to the top. So this piece here, this is our main mechanism. So let's put it aside. This piece here, we have to cut to 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to start by cutting that 5 1/2 inch piece first. That way I keep a nice solid 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 A2 panel. We're not going to use this piece, so it can just go aside and go back in your stash. And then I'm going to take this piece here, rotate it back vertical, and we're going to cut at 3 1/2. And I'll go over those again in just 1 second. Let me just get that cut. So we are 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. So this little scrap piece is also scrap. All right. If you are following along, if I'm going too fast, please do jot a note in the comments. I've got the font all blown up nice and big so I can see it, and Matt is helping to moderate in the other room, so he'll let me know if I need to go along. If you have a question, just type in capital letters question, and then type in what your question is, and I will see it. Sometimes there is a bit of a delay with Facebook and YouTube, so if I miss it in real time, I will go back and answer it. Okay, let's recap. 4 1/4 by 11. This is half of an 8 1/2 by 11. Cut down that vertical. And then this piece here is 3 1/2 this way by 5 1/2 this way. Easy peasy so far. We are good to go. So I'm going to put those aside. Now I need to cut my pattern paper, and that is for this panel, this panel, this panel, and this panel. So these are going to be 4 inches wide by 2 inches tall. It's that easy. My green trees, because it is directional, I need to go this way first, and I'm going to cut it at 2 inches first. So I've got a nice 2-inch strip, and that's all I need from that one, so that can go aside. Whoops. And now I'm going to turn it back this way and cut it at 4 inches twice. 4 inches twice. So that I've got 2 pieces that are 4 inches wide by 2 inches tall. And I will have a little scrap left over, and I think somewhere in my pile I have my little scrap left over from my prototype, so I can make a whole, well actually 3rd card. But for right now, I just need those 2 pieces. Doop, just like so. We're going to do the same thing with your second pattern paper. So for me, this is the trees. These trees that's got all the snowflakes in it. Now, what I really want to make sure is that I get some of these red snowflakes in here because my cardstock is that beautiful deep red. So when I go like this, if I look at where this is going to cut, I'm actually going to cut right through these snowflakes, which I don't want. So this is a personal cheat. You don't have to do this step if you like where your paper is lining out, but I am going to cut, I think I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch off the top, so that when and that's just going to go on my scrap pile, so that when I go to my 2 inches, look, my red snowflakes are going to be right smack in the middle of my strip. So if you like your paper, you don't have to do that 3/4 of an inch. But if you're like me, that you want to kind of adjust where your pattern is, then you might want to, take a little bit off the top of your pattern paper. So now I'm going to do that 2-inch strip, just like I did with the green one. That can go aside. And I'm going to do 4 inches twice. So 4 inches here. And 4 inches here. So I've got 1 extra piece here. Okay, so 2 pieces of these trees, 2 pieces of these trees. Both of them are 4 by 2. Everybody good so far? Give me a thumbs up. We've got 2 more pieces of pattern paper to cut, and they are both going to be the same measurement. So this piece here is going to be the pattern paper that goes here on this card. Now I'm looking here at my cheat sheet. I don't actually have this written down, so let me write it down for you. It's going to be 1/4 of an inch smaller than what our cardstock was. So it's going to be 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. Easy math, easy math. All right. So luckily my paper here is not directional. Ooh, that floral is really, really pretty as well. So because it's not directional, I'm going to put it in this way and cut this way. If your paper is directional, your first cut is going to be the 3 1/4 cut. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go 3 1/4 this way. 3 1/4, yeah. Second guessed myself there for a second. So this is your up and down direction. I'm going to rotate it this way now. So now if you were up and down, your trees or whatever it is that you were creating with is going to be sideways. And we're going to do 5 1/4, and we're going to do that 2 times. So 5 1/4 and 5 1/4. So you've got this little tiny piece that is scrap, and you've got these 2 pieces here. These ones we don't need for a little bit, so you can tuck those away with your 3x4 cut-aparts. We will get to that at the end. And really, that's all the cutting there is for this card, which is fabulous. Now, the next thing we're going to do is our score marks. You can do it with a trimmer if that's all you have with you, as long as you have your scoring blade on there. I'm going to swap out and I'm going to use my scoreboard just so I can do all of my scores all at once. Totally up to you which you prefer to do. There are several score lines, so we will take it nice and slow. Again, I'm not sure if you can see these here, but I will read them nice and clear. So I've got my move it over, make sure I'm on camera here. And it's this piece here that we are going to be trimming. So go ahead and, or not trimming, scoring. Sorry, I misspoke there. And I always forget to get my little scoreboard or scoring tool out before I put my things into place. So snug this right up into the top left corner here. Here, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more closely. Get this on the camera. Too close. There we go. Hopefully you can see okay. Let's bring this over in front. So let me just... Melissa is saying she didn't realize that Spellbinders had a sliding trimmer. Yes, I guess we've had them at least a year, maybe a little bit longer. I finally gave up the ghost on my Fiskars trimmer and switched over to the Spellbinders one, and I have no regrets whatsoever. I like that it's got the scoring blade on there as well, and you've got room. You've got room on this, so the gray one is your cutting blade. You can move it right out of the way and then use your scoring blade. You don't have to take them out, and that was always one of the problems with the Fiskars trimmer, is that if you wanted to swap for your scoring blade, you had to swap them out. So loving that I don't have to lose my blades like that. Okay, so let's start with our scoring. Our first score line is going to be at 1/2 inch. And I actually find that one usually one of the hardest ones because I'm way over here. My hands are backwards. But I'm going to do a 1/2 inch from that left-hand side all the way down. Now, I always say with scoring, you should go lightly at first. Make sure you find that track. Make sure you've got it in the right place. And go over it a few times to increase that score line. I have done it before where I've taken my tool, I've pressed too hard and punched right through the paper. Now this 100-pound cardstock from Spellbinders, you're not likely to punch through, but you never know. If it's been a hard day at the office, you might absolutely punch through just to get rid of the stress. So we're going to be gentle at first and then build up. So that's your 1/2 inch. The next score line is 2 3/4 inches. So 2 and then 3/4. These are all quarters and halves, no 8ths, no 16ths, so that you shouldn't have any trouble following along. 2 3/4. And again, do it lightly first, then build it up. The next score line is 3/4 inch. So it's just a 1/2 inch away from the previous one. And let me just... There you go, you can see it. So we've got a 1/2 inch, then we've got a nice little panel here, then we've got another 1/2 inch panel, and we're just going to continue on similar to that. The next one is going to be 5 1/2. This one is important. We're going to go back to our trimmer in just a second. This 5 1/2 is the center mark, but it's also where we're going to be cutting our little opening for our piece to slide through. So if you are using a guillotine, you may want to pull your slider trimmer out for this, or get out a ruler and X-Acto knife. And I'll show you why when we get there. For right now, we're just scoring though. So 5 1/2. All the way over here, 5 1/2. Give it 3 or 4 good pushes. All right, next is 7 3/4. 7 3/4. 8 1/4. And we are going to finish off with 10 1/2. So let me know if you need me to go over those measurements again. And you can see, when you see it, it all starts to kind of make sense. You've got these 4 panels here that I think are 2 1/4 wide. We've got our 4 1/4 inch wide this way. And then you've got your little 1/2 inches in between, and you've got your one fold down the center. And I'll just try and hold it in the light there. So I'm going to do one last recap for anyone who is writing it down, who missed a score line. We've got 1/2 inch, 2 3/4, 3 1/4, 5 1/2, 7 3/4, 8 1/4, 10 1/2. Give you guys a minute to make sure you've got all of those measurements. I can now put my scoring tool away. The other nice thing about this scoring blade, or this scoring tool, if you haven't seen it, is it does have a little envelope maker on the back, and I think that'll be a whole other learning live, but it is a really fun tool to play with. And we are done with our scoring blade, our scoring board. All right. So I recommend that this next step you watch me first, and then I will give you a minute or two to do it yourself. What we're doing, as I mentioned, is we are cutting this little slit along that center line, along that 5 1/2 inch line, that will allow our pop-up piece to pop through. You can see that it all just kind of folds together like that, but we need that little pop-up piece to go through. So what I'm going to do, in using the numbers on the side of my trimmer, I'm going to put this back in at right at the 5 1/2 inch mark, and I'm going to go this much to the left. Barely a hair's breadth. Wouldn't even necessarily call it a full 1/16 of an inch. You can go a little bit, you can go a 1/16 of an inch if that makes you feel better, but you really don't need that much. You just want a little bloop. And I'm going to try and bring this up close. So along here on your trimmer, regardless of what trimmer you have, you will have some measurements. We are going to start at the 1/2 inch mark, and we are going to go down to the 3 3/4 inch mark. So that way we've got a 1/2 inch, I think that's right, a 1/2 inch on either side. Let me measure that first because I don't have that written down. Please hold, please hold. No, I am wrong. It is 1/4 of an inch. So not a 1/2 inch, 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to start at the 1/4 of an inch mark, which is right here, and go down to 4. So let's step back and recap. Put it at your 5 1/2 inch over here. Go a breadth to the left. Lift up your track. Start this at the 1/4 inch mark, and I apologize, I'm going to bring it close to me so I can make sure I'm in the right spot. So I'm in the right spot. I'm now going to push down so that it's into my paper, and I'm going to come down to the 4 inch mark. How do you know where you're going? Your blade should have an indicator. This one's got a little line. Fiskars often has a little arrow. You just have to know what your trimmer is like. Okay, so when I open this up, you can see the score line, and then just to the right of it is your slit. Now we're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So Matt's asking, could you do it with an X-Acto knife instead of a trimmer? Absolutely. You would just lay it down and maybe mark where your 1/4 of an inch and where your 4 inch is, and then just use an X-Acto knife just on either side of that score line. Okay, so to repeat, I'm going to my 5 1/2, and this time I'm going to do a little breath this way. So we did this way first, now we're going to do this way. This is 100% the hardest part of this card. Everything else is a breeze. So just a breath to the right, and same thing. I'm going to come up here to my 4 1/4. Again, I can't see that far, so I got to make sure. Nope, that's half. Back up here, 1/4 of an inch. Push it down into my paper and go down to the 4 inch mark. So when I lift that out, now you see you've got this teeny tiny little sliver that is ready to pop out. Okay. 5.5. 5.5. Breadth to the left. 1/4 inch down to 4. Repeat going the other way. 5.5. Breadth to the right. 1/4 inch to 4. All good?
Like a whole other language.
Matt's saying it's a whole other language. Hopefully it makes sense once you see what's happening. We're just making this nice little extra bit, and then you're just going to take your scissors and trim it out. Maybe that will make more sense now. Okay, I'm just going to pause for a minute, let you guys all get on the same page. Maybe jot an okay or give me a thumbs up once you're ready. 100%, that is the hardest part. While I'm waiting, and if you are done and waiting too, we're going to go ahead and fold on our score lines. Everything is going to fold in. So everything is folding away from you. Leslie says she likes breadth measurements. It's a very technical term, very accurate. And again, you really don't need it super accurate. You just need a little tiny bit on either side. In reality, you probably could do one cut right along the score line, but this gives you just that little bit of extra wiggle room for that card to pop up and down, especially if you've got stickers and things on it. You want that little bit of extra space. If you're really keen and maybe you have a die, like I know I've got slider dies, I don't know if it's the right width, but you could in theory do a die, but because it's super thick paper, you might not want to. Our trimmer is good. We can use the tools that we've got. All right, so like I said, you want to give these really good burnishes along your score lines. And even if you feel so inclined, you can go back and forth in both directions. What this is doing is it's stretching those fibers so that they bend easily. All right, so let's fold this over. Give it a good burnish. I'm going to do all one way, then I will go back and do all the other way. That middle one you obviously don't have to do because it's already quite thin and delicate, and it's actually not going to bend, that one. That one was more of a indicator where to put your cuts. Okay, so that's all burnished. Now I'm going to come back the other way. Just so it's got some nice muscle memory, some nice flex in that paper. All right, then back this way. And I think that's it. All right. Okay, everybody good? Everybody ready to move on? We're going to put this piece aside for right now, and we are going to grab this piece of cardstock. That's the 3.5 by 5.5. And we are going to grab our 2 pieces of pattern paper that go with that piece. So again, this was 3.25 by 5.25, and we cut 2 of those. Now, definitely this is the step you want to do this before you assemble it. Because I don't know if you can see in that little opening there, this piece here is going to go in between the seams of our box. So we need to make sure we have all of that pattern paper in place before we glue it in, because it's going to go all the way to the bottom. The 3x3 card, the decorating, all that kind of thing, that we can do afterwards. But this piece here we want to get prepped and ready before we do the assembly. So I'm just taking my pattern paper and I'm centering it on this piece so that there's a nice little border all the way around, and then flip it over and put the other piece on it. If you've got pretty patterns on both sides, you are welcome to do one pattern on one side and the other pattern on the other side. For consistency, I'm just going to do them both the same. Just when we go to assemble it, make sure you remember what you want to be on the front and what you want to be on the back. Okay. Now the assembly. So this is where I'm going to get out my score tape instead of using my tape runner, because I want to make sure that this piece sticks where it belongs. So I'm going to grab a couple little Post-it notes. You don't have to do this. I'm going to do this just from a visual standpoint. But here's your slit in the middle. The bottom half is going to be your front. Your top half is going to be your back. So actually I'm going to do it this way. Because what we're going to do is we are going to take this and we are going to flip it over. So now still at the bottom is the front. And this is the back. This little piece here at the bottom, this little 1/2 inch piece, is going to fold up. And what we're going to do is this piece is going to attach to that little 1/2 inch piece. And I'm sorry, I didn't think until I'm just doing it right now that all these colors look the same. So it's probably hard for you to see on the camera. I will try to be very explicit. So we are now on the inside. This little bottom piece is going to fold up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my score tape on this piece here, not on this piece, because this piece is smaller. It is all going to smoosh together at some point, but just for the sake of not being too sticky, I am going to put this right along the bottom here. And I've told you where the front is here, but we didn't talk about the front here. So again, mine are the same, so I'm not too worried about it. But you want the tape to go on the back. So if this is the back, if you've changed your pattern paper, this will just help you. It was not something I thought about when I was doing my prototype, but I think it will be helpful. So we now have the back of your card. We've got the tape. We're going to put this. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. The tape goes on the front, because when it goes through, it's going to pop up and this is our front. So the tape goes on the front. The back is facing you. I'm going to peel this tape front to front. If you can, stick it through your little opening, and then you're going to center it left to right along this bottom tab only, and try to get it aligned on the bottom. Let me do it, and then I will show you. There we go. Okay, so I'm right along the bottom, centered left to right, with that little peaky part poking through the hole. Still good? Now we're gonna, so put it back down. Take your top little 1/2 inch, fold it towards you, and we're gonna put tape along that edge. So right along that little tab. So there's our little flap, our little tape. This is down. Peel it, and then you're going to fold it along that middle line where that cut is. Tape on the inside, and you're just going to line everything up. And it should all just fold really nicely down into place. So now it looks like this. Everybody good? Everybody with me so far?
They're all crafting. They can't comment.
Nobody's commenting, Matt says, because you're all crafting. I will just pause there for a moment to make sure everybody's good. Let you catch up. I'm going to grab a sip of water. And now, if you go like that, ta-da! Your little card stands up beautifully. And yes, really burnishing those folds really did help that stand nicely. And you're good to go. So now's the fun part. Now we just get to decorate. See how we like that? Get the folds right.
Is the stressful point over?
The stressful part is over. Matt's asking for a friend because he's not crafting, but he's asking for a friend. Is the stressful part over?
I'm trying to take care of the folks on the watching.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to zoom out. Oh, wrong way. Out just a little bit so we've got some space. Okay. So I'm gonna trust that everybody is good, and I'm just gonna decorate now. So again, where's my little front? This is my front. So I want to take my one set of trees, make sure they're pointing the right way up, and I'm going to tape it down. Again, this is just decorating, so if you don't want to use your score tape, a tape runner or liquid glue would work perfectly well. Center that in that little panel there. Skip your little center part, and now my green piece is going to go here. So there we go. There is my front. Now, here is the tricky part, or less tricky part than building it, but just to make sure you get your direction properly, I recommend you open it up so that you got your trees going in the right direction. And now I'm going to close it up again, but I'm going to come towards me. So now I'm looking at the back, but the back is kind of upside down. This piece here, we want the trees to be pointing in the same direction as here. So if I pull this down, pull it towards me, my trees with the white background pointing upwards is going to go here. So again, centered left to right, top to bottom. And that leaves one piece of pattern paper and one panel left. This is where you have a choice. And if you've got non-directional paper, then the choice is made for you. You don't have to worry about it. But when I open this up, this is now the bottom. So if I were to look this way, right now my trees are pointing this way. This panel here is really not going to be seen very much. So it's totally up to you if you want the trees going in the same direction or in the opposite direction. I think on this one I did the opposite direction. So these trees are pointing this way, these trees are pointing this way, but it really is the bottom, and that really is the poor cousin that is not going to be seen very much. I'm going to follow the same theory that I did for my sample one, and I'm going to put my trees opposite to what they are on the bottom. Totally up to you though. Okay. And if you happen to make a decision and then do it the other way, nobody's gonna know. Okay. So now we've got our little card. My trees are facing the right way. When it folds up, my trees are facing the right way. On the back, doesn't matter too much. And all we have to do now is finish off with our 3x4 cards. So I think because I'm partial to snowmen, I'm going to do the snow much to do, snow little time on the front. And I've actually been saving this little tag to put on the back. A lot of 3x4 cards will have one or two of these journaling spots, if you will. That makes a great back of the card, so you've got space to write your message, to write your salutation. And now that I'm saying that, let me just look and see. Oh, there's this guy too. Maybe I'll do this guy, because that way the blues are all playing in, and he's already cut. Or the coolest season. No, I'm going to stick with Happy Winter. I just need to cut that advertising strip off, and I'm going to grab this tag. See, they're fun. They're fun and easy. Really make use of those 3x4 cut aparts. Try to find a contrast in color. That one's not lining up there. When it comes to cut apart cards, I very much am team eyeball. I kind of look for where the white edges are. But you can be precise if you wish. And you know what? I did it again. When I did my sample card, I had wanted to round the corners on this piece. And I thought, oh, tonight I'm going to make sure I do it because I didn't do it on my sample. Guess what? I forgot that too. So let's do it on... Let's at least do it on the cut apart card. I'm going to just round the corners just to give it a different look. Get rid of my little crummies. And let's do it the same here on our tag. There we go. Get rid of the crummies. So at this point, just be careful when you are sticking things down. That you don't smush your box too much or bend that too much. So my Happy Winter is going on the front, just like so. At this point, I would probably write my message first before you put it on here, because it might be a little hard to write when it is popped up like this. Alright, so that's now going on this panel. Nice straight. There we go. And I can finish embellishing with some stickers. So maybe on this side here, I'm going to pull some of these little snowflakes. And there's this little trio down here, little snowflakes. Put that over here. On this panel here, I can put a little, maybe an extra little sentiment, you know, happy winter, snow much fun. Can go, I'm just putting it down here. This one's already got some fun little snowflakes, so I don't need to add any more. But, you know what would be really cute? This little toque. Little toque can just kind of go here. So that's what I've got here. Close it up, because that's where you will see you've got a whole other panel here that needs a little something something. How about baby, it's cold outside, bundle up. Put it on a jaunty angle. I can put some snowflakes here. Another little, I love these, I love the burgundy, the red in this, and I mean that Merlot just really makes it pop. So we'll put that little snowflake, and let's do another little toque down here. So now when they receive it in the envelope, it still kind of looks like a card, but then when they really start to play with it, they'll see, look at that. And then we'll go ahead and I'm going to put maybe another little sticker on the back here. Oh, you know what? So we've got the snowman on the front. Why don't we grab the others? I was going to do the little hedgehog. Look at this little cute little hedgehog, but I think I'll save him for the third card that I make. Let's do this guy here with the melted marshmallow snowman. Kind of goes with the snowman that's on the front. And that can just tuck over here. Do I have any more? Oh, I've got this one big red snowflake here. So I'm going to cover up the flower and put the snowflake there. I don't think we need anything here. And you don't need anything here unless you want to, if you've got extra stickers. And then really give your stickers a good rub down, especially at the bottom, so that they don't get stuck, they don't get caught in that little opening. And even with your journaling card, if you feel like it's catching, then maybe go in with a little bit of liquid glue and just tuck it in so that when it closes, it doesn't catch. And there you go. There is our pop-up stand-up card for this evening. Once you've made one, it's really, really easy. So here, this is the one I did. Kickback, stay warm, and enjoy winter. I added burr, I added some extra snowflakes. I've got hot cocoa here. And on the back of this one, I put the little mittens. It doesn't show up well on my overhead camera, but look how cute those are. And definitely mailable, definitely usable for any occasion whatsoever. So I look forward to seeing what you guys have made. Let me just pop back up here. There we go. So thank you for joining us. Bonnie says she's had fun making this card. I'm so glad. Donna's going to make one on replay, which is awesome. Lots of fun and nice and easy. And again, once you get on that roll, they come together really, really nicely. So please do post in the Papercrafts Inner Circle. And here we find the right angle there. Let us see what you made. And if you liked this craft along format for Learning Live, we're going to try and do one craft along every single month. That challenges me to get crafting and find some fun things for you, but it also allows you to follow along and finish a project in our 1 hour time frame and hopefully have fun along with it. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hope that was fun and easy to follow, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, everyone.